Live from Sosúa.
No volto. Jim Fannon.
It's the Jim Fannon Show. A presentation of absolutely no one. That was good. That was the big voice. You know how much I paid for a guy to come in to do that? No,
Wow.
no, you didn't know that was me, did you?
You didn't have to pay me.
You didn't know.
I could have done it for a drink and a joint.
Christian, right off the bat, we're like 38 seconds in, he's already throwing down doob talk. This doesn't help my life.
That's the only thing that sells, so you don't have to be holding back. Let's be real, you know.
Christian is my guest, and we were having a sociable tonight, and I thought, shit, I need to get this on. I need to record. I need to get this on camera. I need to do so. I switched my apartment around to accommodate a guest, and it's weird and awkward. It's not weird and awkward.
I would say it's pretty decent.
I've never done it before, so it's different. And to make all that happen, I needed an XLR cord because I lost one along the way somehow. And I think I needed something like a mic to this part of the mic, just the thing that the mic screws into. Mm-hmm. So I think I get that, but it doesn't work. So we never use that. But I drive down to George's, fully expecting him to be open, and the door's locked. So I call him and I said, "Hey, I'm at the front. Can you come and unlock the door?" He says, "Yeah." So he comes out. He lives in the back. Says, "What's up?" I said, "Where's your band stuff?" He goes, "There's a box over there." I said, "Can you turn the light on?" "Yep." I said, I need this and that." "Perfect. Thank you. Can I mix a drink while I'm here?" "What? Can I mix a drink while I'm here?" "Yeah, oh yeah. Go ahead." So I pour a full one of these, full of rum and ice, and get a couple Coca-Colas and my cord and my mic holder, and out the door I go. So thank you, George. You made this possible. We had I had a couple earlier for happy hour.
Happy George.
2 Cuba Libres, and they're light. They're not strong or anything, but 165 pesos happy hour till 8 p.m. every day. What is it? 2 to 8?
Yeah, every day 2 to 8. At the Cheers bar.
2 rum and cokes for 165 pesos. So, but the reason I thought that it'd be interesting to talk to you is just because, well, one, this music here, let's go straight to, I can't play it here. I'll go to Spotify. This song, I played it the other night I started doing the Jim Fannon Show again because I really haven't been talking like politics or my Twitter feed or anything like that, but I banked 2 episodes, 20-minute segments of the Jim Fannon Show where I'm kind of talking about politics and going back to my old show that I haven't done in 4 years. I've stayed away from politics completely down here.
Well, politics has been cruel since forever, so it's not really.
No, but I'm addicted to it, so
yeah,
it's my thing.
But it's not voluntarily. It's just something that is important sometimes.
Oh,
but it's getting bad.
Spotify is not responding. That's shit.
So you didn't know the Spotify was a Swedish company in the beginning, huh?
No. And it's not responding. For crying
Still
out
not.
loud.
We blame the Swedes.
Oh, did we play the intro? Oh, we didn't play the intro.
We were about to, but
we started recording. We didn't even do the intro. So this is just more B-roll. I got to tell that story all over again? No, let's do this. I got an idea.
Blaze it up.
Just like my boy Gavin Machinist, I will. We'll just start the show. We'll just say, okay, we're starting the show now, and we'll put up the
show must go on.
We'll start again. We don't have to stop recording again. Oh, for crying out in the night, where's my stuff, man? What the hell?
Put on that blood clot music.
It's like I've never done this before, bro. What the hell? I'm flailing like a fish out of water here. And I'm distracted. I just looked at my... Oh, this is not good. Don't look at your WhatsApp. I mean, while you're doing a show, it's just not conducive.
A good show.
Shut up. There. Here we are. Okay. So over here. Get rid of that. This is bad. Okay. Okay, now we're going to start the show. Should I start the... No, because I don't want to actually retell that story for the third time.
Put it on the show.
So we're good. Okay, here we go. We're going to start the show now.
Very excited.
Uh-oh.
I have to...
No, not yet. Hang on. Gotta get rid of this. Fuck. What's being broadcast? Here, it's coming again. I'm getting killed everywhere here. Everywhere is loading. Well, you know what? You know what would make this better? More booze.
Probably.
No,
Shall I make it?
I'm kidding. Okay, here we go. For real this time? Where's my show? Where's my song? Oh, fuck. No,
Where's
everyone.
my song?
Okay, fuck it.
They
I'm just
thong,
closing
thong,
this.
thong.
I can't. I got too many windows open, and every
You
time I
should be
click
from
on
Thailand.
one,
You say song, but you mean thong. Me love you long time. You never been to Thailand? Me neither.
I want to go to.
I heard some stories though.
go to the Philippines. Okay, here we go. We're gonna start the show.
Ooh. Let's start.
I'm gonna cut the mics. It should go more like this. Watch this. We play it over, and then we come in and we see something corny like. Live from Sosúa, it's the Jim Fannon Show, a presentation of absolutely no one.
I've made one mistake in my life. I should have burned Berlin down. And now the drugs are slowly wearing off. And your smile looks more like a frown. I give you freedom, you are alone. Memento mori,
We play it for a long time. We come out of it slowly. We leave the song playing in the background forever. And at the network, at the radio station, AM radio, talk radio, they would go, dude, turn the music off. It's talk radio. I'm like, no, let it roll. I want this shit. So I would bring in a bumper instead of 15 seconds. I'd be like a minute 30. This is my favorite part of coming back from commercial was the welcome back. Up next, I call him Farmer. That's all I'm going to call him. His name is not important. We talked about in the outcuts. I'll post it in the remarks in the description. It's not important. His name, for all intents and purposes, Farmer. What up, Farmer? Weird. After my brother picked up this stray on the streets of Sosúa, and befriended him on vacation, coming down here to see me after his final chemotherapy, after his final deadly shot of treatment. Yeah. I'll take the chemotherapy. Come down here and we'll get you hooked up with Fen Ben and Ivor Mickey. I can't even say the words in case we put this on YouTube. You can't. I don't know if you can say those words anymore. You get fucking burned up for medical I'm not even gonna say the word. So, anyways, that's a picture of my desktop. How great, eh? And a camera of us. I'll put Farmer up here. So, here's a 2-camera shot of us. So we turned the studio into. We turned my office desk that also doubles as a broadcast station, not a studio, into a 2-person sit. So that's what it looks like there. And then display, where's 2-camera, cam zoom. Oh, there we go. This is my boy. Look into the camera, say hello, fine, say your name, then again, we'll do this
Christian
over again.
Lindstad, Viking from Norway, turned Rastafarian in this splendid island.
You said your name and I didn't even understand it, and I know it. So
Christian Lindstad.
okay.
In Norwegian, though, I don't flip the accent just for your
Right,
pleasure.
exactly. So, you told me a story earlier. Your dad. Okay, start with just start from the beginning with the ferry story.
Well,
So, because I had to ask questions all the way through the ferry story to make sure that I was on board and understanding completely.
We own the ferry, and it has a few stories.
Okay, so how did it get the ferry, and where did it come from? And then tell us a story about what we hit earlier, if you can do that.
Well, the ferry
do you
came
think
from
we'll be-
Norway. It spent 26 days on the ocean. Little stop in Portugal, the Azores, to refill the, let's say, diesel tanks. And it was a pretty nasty crew coming over and accepting this mission to bring this ferry to Norway, not from Norway to Dominican Republic. And I don't think any normal crew would accept that job, but they arrived in a mysterious way. And waiting for the ferry at the dock, me and my father see that the captain and the machine specialist are fighting on the bridge. I guess they opened the engine room with lots of booze stored, and they were pretty drunk, both of them, coming all the way from Norway. So that ferry, in the end, is not with us anymore. But that we'll come back to later.
And that's the end of the story. Thank you for coming, Christian. What a great story. Wasn't that great?
That's the intro of the story.
That was great.
That's the intro.
Thanks for coming. Good night now.
No, it's you can imagine this crew didn't really want this job, and the guy jumping onto the dock even before the ferry, so he was pretty eager to get on solid ground, and ended up splashing all his cash on the closest whorehouse that he could find. So he was not the smartest guy. He actually, I'm sorry, and his soul may rest in peace, but he hit the wrong side of the tunnel in Norway a few years later and killed himself drunk driving. So rest in peace, buddy, and thanks for the ride.
That was the captain? No.
No, that was the machine guy.
Oh, okay.
The captain, he was too serious to even trying to do something like that. But
So
the
what
machine
did they stay in the Dominican Republic?
They stayed. Well, the captain, he went the fastest as he could back to Norway. I think he didn't like it at all. The machine guy also took his ride, but one of the Norwegian, he actually a friend of mine now. He was working on the deck, and he was the one actually carrying the whole boat from Puerto Plata to Luperón in the end. When the bills were getting too high on the dock there, that's when we understood that hey, we can't stay here. But it was fresh Norwegians. Well, we had been in the country for a while, but it's always things to learn in Dominican Republic. Situation will never finish as you thought in the beginning. It's
So,
you can imagine yourself. You have experience from here as well.
So, where did the boat come from now? No, first of all, describe it quickly. A ferry.
It's a ferry.
So 20, 30 cars,
it's
8 cabins.
Four, what do you say, 4 levels.
Yeah.
And you had the
4
restaurant.
levels above the water?
Yeah, now you have one underwater, which was the kind of an underground restaurant with serving of whatever people want to eat. And then you had the car deck, and then there was one level between, which was toilets and some cabins, and then you had another restaurant on the top deck. So and the sunroof was also in the front. So it was a few levels, a big fucking ferry, about 250 meters long and 10 meters high.
250 meters long.
Something, yeah. How much is that in feet? You must divide, 3 times more in feet.
That's
so about 1,000 feet
boat,
long, yeah.
Man. What powered it?
Well, it had a few Volvo Penta 700,000 horsepower engines. I think it was 3 engines, and it was also 3 generators to keep the power running. So it was a massive ferry, and we couldn't even drive it legally because it was way out of our boundaries. I think my father wished that I would eventually learn how to drive it, but I wasn't even close. So when that accident, which I told you, when we were the anchor lost its grip, and we were floating towards the dock. And we have this expensive luxury cruise ship. I don't know if it was Royal Caribbean or which company it was. We don't have insurance for this, we can't crash with this boat. But then, luckily, we did actually crash with the cruise ship, but only once, because then it spun the ferry around and we kind of bounced back again. So we go to the next bay of still sea, and that was very dramatic. I've never seen
very dramatic.
I've never seen my father's eyes so out of his head as at that moment. He was kind of fuck. What do we do now? I have this ferry, no insurance, and we're floating to crash the cruise ship.
The first time he tells me the story, I'm like, okay, so he's I don't know. I thought he was in the open water, and they lost their anchor, lost their anchor permanently, like gone, and never to be retrieved again. And that a cruise ship was coming towards them. I'm like, well, he's talking about how it flipped around. It changed directions, is what he mean to say. But when he said flipped around, I go, like over? Like, where did you hit it? He goes, on the front. I go, you hit a cruise ship. Like, I'm thinking a cruise ship moving at, 10 knots or some shit. You're like really booking across the ocean. And your ferry just bumps into the front of it while it's moving, and it doesn't, smash into it. Yeah, so, yeah, you were in the...
It stayed in level, but it kind of swing to the side and went the other direction.
In the dock, or in the port.
Yeah. But there's a dock behind the dock, so it's kind of it's a weird place, that Puerto Plata Bay.
So your engineers screwed you over. They left you. They knew that the anchor wouldn't hold, so they bailed on you and just left you to your own devices. I'm like, well, why don't you just start up the boat? He goes, not that simple. I go, well, couldn't you just figure it out? He goes,
at least they were finished at the strip club.
We
went
just
to the
a
rescue.
key and a steering wheel and some levers.
When they could actually, with that rescue boat, it was thankfully strong enough to pull the whole ferry. So they just we pull them, we throw them a rope, And then they pulled us out on the deep sea so we could start over again. So it was very dramatic. I haven't seen my father that desperate. What have I done now about this ferry? You had this safe ranch stored up, and now you changed it to a ferry, and now we're crashing to the cruise ship. It was
So
a few
then what?
moments I've seen
So-
my father being worried.
So then what? How did you get it? How did you end up in? Okay. So you got it. You got the anchor to what? Oh, you got some guys
We had to
tow
anchor
you.
up again, and thankfully a few weeks later we ended up moving to Luperón because of the expenses on the bay. So then we moved the whole ferry to Luperón and find it safer there. Like we said, it was $10 a month to anchor up in Luperón compared to I don't know how many $100 they wanted almost per hour. I don't even remember. It was just too expensive. And this corrupt general, which you really never want to talk to again, he was not friendly at all. You expected this bill's gonna be way too high for our taste. That's typical Puerto Plata. They are very corrupt.
And so then, how long did you live in Luperón Bay?
In Luperón, we stayed for a couple of years and built basically the discotheque that we had in vision of realizing. We made it looked like it was a wood quality which we brought from Norway, and put the whole thing together on the floor. And we painted it in mahogany color. It looks very nice, but to get permission from Dominican authorities to have that kind of business, that was in the end impossible. So then we decided that we can't have the boat stand by for so long, and we had to realize that maybe it's back to cargo again. And then we ended up sending bananas and papayas to St. Martin. So we ended up becoming an exporting ship again. So we transport fruits. I was on that first trip. That was 70 hours on the ferry. And I remember the waves were just, you were rolling basically from the one side to the next. You couldn't sleep, you were just rolling. It was, the ferry was, it wasn't meant for that kind of sea basically. This is meant for the fjords of Norway where it's kind of stable, you know. But this flat bottom boat had a rough time in Caribbean and ended his life in the end.
Dude, you had to sail it all the way across the Atlantic. Fuck, they had a hard time in the Caribbean?
Nobody understood that it even made it, you know. It wasn't meant for that high sea.
Oh, really?
But they really timed the low season weather, so it wasn't in the...
Oh, shit.
So they managed, they arrived, but nobody could imagine this ferry crossing the Atlantic. That was... no, it wasn't built for that. Definitely not. So this, well, there was this Dominican fruit exports, which in the end didn't work out. The typical Dominican in the end never pay your bill, and we had to rent it out to somebody else. And they were from Greece, and we were quite positive since they have experience in shipping and normally know what they're doing. And now this was this old veteran shipping guy, and he saw our vessel as a chance for his son to have his first business. So he kind of pushed his son out to deal with this ferry, and he wanted to carry bricks from Dominican Republic to Turks and Caicos. That was their main income vision, or whatever you call it. But in the end, they got too greedy and they put too many bricks on the ferry. So the whole ferry kind of, they even welded down the windows which we have on the restaurant on the lower deck, so that they could go deeper in the sea. And I started to think that You know, you're getting a bit too greedy here. You know, you don't need to bring that many bricks on each trip. You know, we can survive if we carry less. That's the afterthought. But in the end, the boat sank. This guy lost his own son. He was because he went down with the boat.
Jesus.
The captain went down. He was from Caicos, and 2 Dominican, the machine guy and one of the youngsters working on deck. He lost his life. That was kind of dramatic. But I remember when
we didn't even get to the end of the story.
We jump a bit back and forth, but in the end...
No, I mean, when you were telling me the story earlier, I didn't hear that part.
I didn't get to that. I didn't get to the details. I told it sank, but I didn't get into who went down and who survived. And the amazing thing, I actually met with one of the survivors. He was a Dominican, obviously very good swimmer from Puerto Plata. And he actually swam 26 hours in open sea with these waves. And the worst thing was actually when you hit the corrals, when you hit the shore, and you actually, oh wow, there's no beach here. I have to keep swimming, you know, you have to find a beach. Because you can't just go close to the corrals, then you get smashed. So it wasn't enough swimming 26 hours to reach the island again. He actually had to find a beach as well. So he was a happy survivor. And the 2 others, they were floating with vests and were picked up by helicopters. That was a normal rescue. But this guy, he swam 26 hours to save his life. He didn't have vest, nothing. He just wanted to survive, man. I was impressed of his story when I saw him. So he was the boat was with 7 crew, and 4 died and 3 survived. 2 floating, and this guy swimming as a Superman in the ocean, man. That was impressive. He really wanted to survive. So you have a few heroes out there, and if it depends on your own life, then that's probably what comes out, you know. You have this self-defense within, which is quite interesting.
Yeah. The will to live, I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
All kinds of examples.
Very
of
impressive. I didn't even believe that the ferry sank in the beginning. I got the phone call. I was at Sosúa beach. And they say, hey, Chris, the boat sank. You know, what do you mean it sank? You know, talking good English here. You know, and, I didn't really want to believe it, but I went to Puerto Plata to check it out. And then I see all these crying families on the dock, and I start to realize, really, this actually happened. The boat sank. And then I see some of these people looking at me with not a good energy, and I kind of sense that, I'm the son of the owner of this ferry, and my father's in Norway, and I shouldn't be here taking questions, you know. It's about time to get the fuck out of here. And I'm glad I did. I jumped on the closest motor concho, and I went back to Sosúa. And then I realized, no, it's not enough to go to Sosúa. You should leave the country. So I was in fucking Charles de Gaulle the next morning, hey, out of Paris, you know. So I didn't dare to stay behind, because this father of this Greek who died, he already went to Miami. So he didn't even fucking recognize his son floating in the sea, you know. So I kind of guessed, no, I'm not doing this interview, you know. That was, yeah. I left the island before the questions start coming at, you know. You don't want Dominican families run after you with baseball bats.
Or worse, machetes.
Machetes and baseball bats claiming to get some money for their dead son, you know. I didn't wait for that one. Absolutely a true story, and I haven't told everybody. Now it's on the Jim Fannon Show.
Yeah, he's 29 minutes into this recording. How do you top that? Holy shit.
Yeah, some people lost their lives on this stupid ferry, which we had some good plans with, but it never really happened the way we wanted, you know. We wanted a party boat floating in the safe bay of Sosúa.
Where were they taking it?
They were that trip was going to Turks and Caicos, which is another Caribbean British islands, and the fruit were going to Saint Martin, so they had different routes. But this guy to Saint Martin, he wasn't able to make money. I remember the first trip, it was probably 20 cases of papaya on the boat, and they spent a week longer than they should filling the boat up with fruit. You know, they didn't have experience in cargo, so they just spent too much time. So when we get to Caicos, most of the papaya was already ready to eat, you know, so they couldn't really sell it to the customers in St. Martin, because they didn't want fruit that was already ready to eat. They wanted to have the time to actually sell it. So then I ended up having a few cases of papaya to just shove in my face, and I have never tasted that fruit. But what a delicious fruit that is, especially when it's perfectly timing on the orange color, if you might call it. I had some green ones, which is also good, but when they are proper ready to eat, that was a good experience eating papaya the first time. So we had some benefits on the trip. 70 hours from Dominican to St. Martin, but 70 hours, yeah. So you go past Puerto Rico, St. Thomas, a lot of these islands, and actually I think we actually stopped in Puerto Rico to have a refill of diesel. I don't know why. We could have if you can go from Norway to Portugal without refilling, I think they could have made it to fucking St. Martin, but they were not smart shippermen, these Dominicans. I think it was just calculating the difference of papaya sold in St. Martin compared to in Puerto Plata. So I wonder why we did deal with this guy, but in the end we kicked him out. But he tried to fool us. We had a contract with him, and he was on a regular typewriter and putting on an extra little detail in the contract, which made him believe that he could scam us from the whole boat, but he failed in the end, thankfully. But the boat sank before even that case went to court, so it was, who knows, he might have won though, since he's Dominican and I'm the gringo, but it was no case for him to claim when the boat is on 1,000 feet deep. So unfortunately Nordahl ended her life in the Caribbean Sea. It was a ferry open in both ends, but after
where exactly did it go down then?
Just north from Puerto Plata, where the island actually ends, and there it goes way
Puerto
down.
Plata.
Well, when you go past Puerto Plata and kind of the ground of the island, when you go to the end of that, then it's just way deep, you know. Then you're in the Atlantic, deep of the. So about 3,000 feet, I guess that boat is. You know, it's impossible to get it up again. And you could imagine the poor son of the Greek. He went down with the boat. I guess he was trapped of the blocks, probably hitting him when the wave. I think it was a wave that hit the cargo, so it made the weight go to one side of the boat, and then it flipped on the wrong way on the next wave coming in. And this Greek guy, he was probably caught by the bricks, and he went down to the deep sea. And you can imagine the body exploding. He was 5 times bigger than a normal body when he come up. It was like a whale waiting to be exploded.
Okay, or easy watching.
No, it's quite horrific how much a body expand when they come down to the deep and get into that pressure which is down there. And it comes up like a balloon. It is not pretty. You wish it was not a human being, but I rejected to go in, and they wanted me to go in and confirm the body that it was the guy. It was. I didn't go. It wasn't for me, you know. His father already went to Miami. Why the fuck should I go and identify the dude, you know? No, I rejected. It was. I was 21. It was way too much for a young lad, you know. Yeah, definitely. My father was in Norway with a heart transplantation. What do you call it? Bypass. So it was for me to take care of the ferry. I remember the phone call to my dad. Hey, Papa, how did the operation go? You know. Well, the boat sank. You know, the ferry's gone.
Oh my God.
Oh, it wasn't the best message I wanted to give him after the operation. You know, you ready for next heart attack, baby? He wasn't good enough with the first one. But he actually took it quite good. He said, "Hey, but you weren't on the trip, Christian. I'm glad you're still alive, you know." I think he knew we would get the ranch back in the end anyway, but it was kind of, he didn't really worry, you know, because the ferry was a prepayment of the land we have. And it really didn't cover the rest of it. So when the guy stopped paying the payments, then he couldn't claim the farm in the end, you know, so... And also a good thing, the partner of my father, which owns parts of the ranch, he rejected a house in Florida. It was a luxury villa, was meant for him. And then when he rejected that, this investor, he had no more cards to play, it seems. So I'm glad in the end I'm the owner of that farm now. Because we could have lost it all with the ferry, you know. But thankfully the ferry went, and that's on the other guy's bill, you might say. So, yeah, dramatic story. But I'm glad I was not on the ferry. Definitely not.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah,
Wow.
he was a machine guy from Britain. He was supposed to be on the ferry, but he saw all this overweight of cargo of bricks, and he said, "No, I'm not taking this trip." And the others should have listened to him, because he was an experienced machine guy from Britain, and he rejected that mission. So he had a reason for it. It seems in the end, you know, he knew what he was talking about.
Damn.
And I was 21 on the beach, just hoping to collect the rent of the ferry. You know, it wasn't really my mistake. So that's why I wasn't ready to take the blame either when that Greek father had taken the getaway bus or plane to Miami. It was impressive how fast he ended up in Miami, you know. I haven't even heard of the accident, and he's already in Miami. You know, what a sleazy guy that one.
Well, I'm just looking at that place in Luperón. Sorry to change the subject, but those lakes where all the boats
Luperón
go.
is a perfect bay for people who's afraid of the hurricane season. That's what it's famous for.
Playa Chiquita Lagoon, Luperón.
Playa Chiquita, you have Playa Grande, which is sadly a huge hotel, which is now like a ghost. It's been abandoned for 20-25 years. Ever since the president decided to send all the tourists down on the other side of the island. So that hotel didn't survive at all. It's quite sad. That was kind of the main thing in Luperón, with the hotel full at the big beach, but Playa Grande. But they killed it. That was... Luperón survived on the sailors because of the Bay of Hurricanes, but the hotel with the really large tourism, it didn't survive. And they've not been able to sell it even on real estate after all this time. But when you look at it, all the balconies on the hotel, it's not seafront. You know, they're looking to the side. So you kind of have to stick your head out to see the ocean. It's kind of stupid architecture. I think that's one of the reasons that nobody wants to buy it, because, you know, if you're basically on the beach and you can't see the ocean. Who thinks like that, you know? So all the balconies are pointing on the left side of the ocean. It doesn't really see the ocean. from us view, you know, ocean view is some of the most valuable thing you have in real estate, and then you end up not seeing the beach and your beachfront. You know, it's. I think that's why it's never been sold afterwards either, because the architect was just way too stupid. Yeah, you should see it. I'll bring you there one time.
Yeah, no, that's worth checking out. I'm just looking at the map here.
No, it's a typical thing in Dominican. They think opposite. You know, they probably, I want to protect myself from the ocean instead of watching it. Maybe it was a tsunami warning coming.
All right, 40 minutes in, man. That was good story. We put that in the bank.
Well,
cut this up and
it's not a lie. I can't invent that shit.
No, you certainly can't. That was
the end story of Nordahl, the car ferry from Norway. It was a bigger accident in Norway, which actually forced all the ferries to close in the front, because it was open in both ends before, so the cars could drive in and drive out. But then after that, it was an insurance scam actually, probably at a lower level than 9/11, but it was definitely not. It was intentionally accident, and in the end, all ferries had to close in the front because of that accident. And then you realize afterwards it was a scam. It wasn't really an accident, you know. So all ferries in the whole region had to do a big repairing to close the front of the ferry, which is not it's not for free, you know. You have to actually do some welding in front there to close in, because it was wide open, and then you had to make it. So a lot of things happens from one accident to, and we realize it wasn't really an accident. It was actually a scam, insurance scam. Quite famous one, actually. Not as famous as 9/11, but pretty
I love
famous.
how you just threw that in there.
I'm Norwegian. We see the real news, you know. Definitely.
All right. I'm exhausted. Sunday night. That was good rip, man. I'm glad we put this in the can, and maybe it'll even make it to the light of day one day since we're recording.
I might have a few other stories. Let's see if we make it.
Yeah, if we make it. All right. Say good night now. Wave to the camera. Goodbye. There
It was a
go.
pleasure.
All right. Wait, do it again. Just
Always a pleasure.
Yeah, there we go.
Nice to be introduced to some true stories.
Mucho gusto.
Un placer.
Yeah, see.
Pa'lante que van.
Peace. Love. Hug your neighbor.
No bulto esa vez.
And I am out. So part 2. This is it. What's the name?
My name, you mean?
No, the ship name, you dummy.
My name is still Christian from Oslo.
Nordahl.
Nordahl is the name of the ferry, yes, that's true. Let's see if you can drag out some more stories from this story.
Well, we didn't really, and we haven't released the first one yet. So this is a summary, kind of like part 2 of just wrapping it up. I guess we told the whole story, so we'll start out with this anyways. Yeah, this whole story with the land we didn't get into, you know, it was, maybe we should
You
change.
could up your sound a little bit. You're a bit low for me to hear you. Perfect.
My sound is perfect.
Well, to me you sound a bit low.
You don't have the headphones on.
Maybe I have been on the airplane now. Need to get some dots out, who knows?
Oh my God, my guest is telling me that I'm speaking too low, he can't hear me with the windows and doors open. We're not supposed to be broadcasting with the windows and doors open, but here we go. So anyway.
I hear you, but it's like you're far away.
I'm just going to put you on full screen. Since I can do this. Oh yeah, see? Pretty covered up is more like it. That's the perfect angle of you behind the mic. So maybe I should move the camera over, but okay. Tell the story of how you got the ferry. What the hell? I mean, we already went through the whole story.
Well,
how did it get to that?
My
point?
father has always been a little adventurous man, and he came to this place very early and got this offer of buying this ranch farm property together with a friend, and in the end, after having that farm for many years, they decided to accept the deal where this ferry was a little prepayment. So that's how we jumped on owning a ferry with actually no experience at all. So yeah, I would say that would it was a good thing for my father to even try to do, because it was nothing do something totally different, which you have absolutely no experience, and yeah, and in Dominican Republic as well. So it's a lot of factors that actually could go wrong probably, but it's better to try than to regret probably. So what happened. So at least we still have the farm and can grow some food for Ja people instead. I think that in the end is a relief, obviously. Yeah, we find actually a picture of the ferry also. So
thanks for coming out for part 2. That lasted 3 minutes and 42 seconds. My guest is Christian Lindstad, and he wants to say goodnight now.
Mm-hmm. I definitely remember when I called my father and had to explain to him that this ferry has gone down in the deep bottom of the sea, and I think he took it quite nice. I was kind of surprised. He said he was glad I wasn't on the trip, and you know, it could have been worse. It was something he always, there's no crisis, he used to say in Norwegian. Det er ikke noe krise. So that's very typical phrase of my father. It doesn't matter how bad it is, he always finds a positive angle, and I thank him for that. Absolutely, because I was afraid for that phone call. That's not... we just lost this big, expensive ferry. There's no captain's cabin anymore. Yeah.
So there we go. That's a better. How about that for a cut?
And that was definitely a time where I learned to know my father much better, since when I was a kid I didn't really see him much more than a few weekends now and then. So it was nice to...
We can take a cruise of your...
This ferry is absolutely a big part of my relation with my father, actually.
Going through his old Instagram. You said it got hacked?
Yeah, this is my old...
you don't have access to it?
Well, I just see the pictures. I can't log into it anymore now. So that's why a friend of mine, he helped me open a new account, and then that's the one I use to, you know, chat now. I don't really use Instagram much, but there's a lot of cool pictures there from work and some rivers we've been to. And, you know, there's a lot of...
Go back to the very start.
That's the funny thing with pictures. It's memories.
The last photo you put in was what? Current balance. Who does that? Like,
the picture of, what is it?
I don't know. Cheers.
Yeah. Sometimes a picture also is just a moment, you know. It doesn't have to be a perfect picture. It's just what you experienced and saw at that moment, especially. Yeah, that's a cave on the farm. It's actually a cool cave to have a little spiritual fire.
Valhalla.
Yeah, that's hopefully another place we could have a podcast
I gotta
with a good
craft
sound
that.
check in the cave. Who knows? I need to find the cave first. I think I know one entrance, the neighbor filled with garbage, so maybe he has some secrets down there.
Let's go back through them because they.
But I think I have another entrance from on top of the mountain, and we can actually, with a long solid rope, we can actually get down that way. So I have a crazy guy who will do that job. Yeah, I had my father on the farm there, and also at a bar just across to Cheers actually. Yeah, there you go. Campo Bar. That was a very popular gringo bar before.
Yeah.
That's a few years ago. This is my mother-in-law's boyfriend in Brazil. I don't think they're together anymore, but he was a cool guy. Flavio. And that's my Dominican grandparents in Luperón. They're such a sweet couple. They were married 60 years. Fortunately, Payalito, the angel to the left, he passed away. Great man. He's the only man I've danced with. He's a fucking awesome, cool guy. I needed to get him moving, you know. He's an old man, need to move. You need to. So I put on Tobacco and Rum, which is a cool song. Tobacco y Rum. Yeah, great man. And that's his firstborn son, which passed away actually, this Dominican. He died of some stupid illness which would have been fixed in a normal hospital. Yeah, there you have him again. And we'll get some more water. You're still recording now? You're still recording?
Oh yeah. Nice echo in here too. Took all the furniture out, took all the curtains down. Trying to get it so the lighting doesn't bounce off the windows and stuff. This is really like transforming my living room and my, what is it? Not even 700 square foot apartment.
What did you say?
I wasn't talking to you, farmer. Farmer has left the building. I don't know why my mics sound like they're so far down, man. I got my gain turned up way up on yours, way up on mine, or 3/4 volume or something. It still doesn't sound like it's high enough, man. I don't know. The piss is going on over here. Hey now.